All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
What you got on there, Brian?
Brian Shesko.
Oh, man, you got your Steagles shirt on.
I'm making every side of the state of Pennsylvania angry because I am unashamedly so happy about Pittsburgh, and I absolutely love the Eagles. I cannot.
This year, Eagles. Or
last
Eagles.
Year,
last year's
2
Eagles.
years ago.
Okay. Eagles do. Look, I will give it to the state of Pennsylvania when it comes to football. Eagles and Steelers typically do good business.
Forever. I'm from there, from that area, so Steelers in my blood, but I hate them. I hate what they do. It's a pathetic, horrible team to watch. And last year for sure. Eagles, so fun. Real disappointing end of the year last year.
Right.
The Steagles, of course.
At one point, the history behind it.
Short-lived merger of the two teams during World War II because there were not enough young men on both sides because of going
to field a team
because of the war. So they merged, kept the Eagles colors, and moved the team to Pittsburgh.
If you take the Steeler and the Eagles, you get the Steagles.
I don't know if you can decipher that one. Steelers, Eagles, Steagles.
I think I got that.
It is way better than the Eaglers.
It's true.
I don't know. I kind of like Eaglers.
Eaglers sounds like something out of
anyway. This is
an Austin Powers.
This is from
movie.
Pittsburgh's own Steel City.
Okay,
awesome shirts in Pittsburgh.
Very cool.
Store downtown. Go to Pittsburgh.
Very cool. All right, listen. Before we get started here, Travis.
That's not what this podcast is about.
It's not.
Yet.
We're gonna get in.
Travis has some.
Travis, you have something. You have a story that you're saving. Is it to start the pod story or okay? All right, or is it mid pod story?
Nah, it's to start the pod story.
All right, take it away.
This is. I just want to start this story with. This has been really great, guys, but this is probably my last pod after you hear this.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
This is going badly already.
Sure. This sounds perfect.
Do you remember my apology that one time where I forgot to upload audio?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was, really committed to making sure that never happened again.
Okay. It hasn't happened since.
So much so, I was committed so much, me being the technical guy that I am, there's cords everywhere, right?
Okay. Sure.
Like, I'm a technical guy.
Right.
But no one's ever said I was smart.
Okay.
Just, he's pretty technical.
I would call you smart.
Well, you won't after this.
Okay.
So I went through the process of, bulletproofing. This is never going to happen again.
Okay.
So you've noticed we finished recording. I can get our video out in 10 minutes, max 10 minutes.
YouTube's up quick.
Boop, 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 boop.
Right?
Perfect, right? We're good. Got a system down. And then audio is a macro that I run.
Okay.
On this little macro deck that I have.
Yeah.
Where it pulls up the file location.
And then you just load
It's named based off of what our recording software does.
Okay,
So I know what it is. It pulls the highest sequence, which is the most recent one.
Sure.
And then it navigates to our webpage, logs us in, because, again, I can run this macro. I've coded this. It works.
It hasn't been working for a while.
It didn't work.
It hasn't worked in a very long time.
So in
other words, we've got no audio out there for many weeks, and
many of our audio listeners might have thought we just disappeared.
They're not even going to hear this unless I can do it manually again. So I just wanted to let you guys know. Okay. Again, it's been fun. I hope you find another host for next year. But I'll be going through our back catalog, which I have all recorded. It's fine. We have all the audio. But it's not useful to anybody.
I don't think so. For posterity's sake, maybe. I'm sure. Honestly, there are people that go back and listen to multiple pods. I do know that happened. So I want to tell you something.
Oh, God.
On my drive down to North Carolina
went to go find
last weekend, no, I got a text from my cousin Abby in Ohio, and
she's like, "Did you guys stop recording?"
No, she's like, "Hey, my sons are starting to play soccer, and I want to start following it. And I know that you're into it. What should I do?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, you came to the right place." So we go through all the things. So I go to Apple Podcasts to send her the latest link, and I realized,
It's not on there.
it's been a long time, like since match week 27, 26, 28.
It's been like
That's a long time ago.
exactly.
So I noticed,
It's
and
been
I'm
since
like,
I set the macro up so that I wouldn't let that happen again.
so I noticed anyway. So then I sent her a
It
link.
worked the first week
sent
that
her
I
to
did
the
it.
link
Can I
to
just
the
can I just say
YouTube.
that?
Fair enough. Fair. Listen, I trust you. Again, I trust you. Believe you. Your techiness is
in question now.
Ages further than mine. So
Is there some sort of like point deduction that
no,
we
Brian,
could do?
It won't matter.
No, hold on, Brian, Travis, and you might remember.
Do we need to
it's
call
been
the provisional liquidator?
No.
Okay.
You need
An
to
official
queue up.
apology?
You need to lead him in the apology.
Oh, yeah. You're
And
right.
I don't.
I'm
and
dumb,
you're not
you're
doing
smart.
this. You're not doing this for Brian and I.
Yeah.
At minimum,
for
you're doing
everyone.
it for the
It's
ones
for everyone.
because look, everyone gets. Everyone likes to consume their podcasts in different ways.
Exactly. So let me tell you this though. It's almost even more comical how I found it out.
Okay.
I at one point as a joke for Scott that it was like legitimate. This is like this. I mean,
Were
know
you
me.
like gonna mockingly send him a link?
No, it's better than that. He made a comment at one point that he was the number two fantasy podcast after RotoWire at one point, which I think is true. You guys were. I wasn't a part of it, so I won't say we were because I wasn't there.
It was early days.
It was very early, right? And so which was awesome. And so I had set up an alert for where FPL America or FPL America. What that's what we are, right?
We are
Now,
that
yes.
now. We're
Now.
that now.
Yes.
I was trying to think of what we were before.
Fantasy Soccer FC.
Yes, so
used to be it.
Fantasy Soccer FC, and I had updated it when you rebranded.
Right.
Anyways, I'll say I get alerts for where you're not where you're trending, but where you're like actually ranked.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So I got an email. I was looking for something. I'd gotten
Asking
an
if you're
email
still
in
recording.
my junk. No, not asking if we're still recording. Saying that we had fallen in the charts in like Zimbabwe or something.
What?
Like legitimately in
We
Zimbabwe.
got like 2 listeners in Zimbabwe, and we've taken that away from them.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. I think we were like number 230 and we fell to like 245 or something.
Oh man.
And I was like, wait, that's weird. And so then I went to go see what our listeners. I was like, there's no way we have that many in Zimbabwe. So I went into SoundCloud to go see, because you can see regions.
You can see the countries, yeah.
I was like, wait, what's happening? What did I do? And I almost called you right away, but then I figured it would be better if I just did it here.
Perfect.
So that it was out there.
Listen, the tech world is hard.
It's like 10 episodes that are missing.
It's, you know what? It's there on YouTube.
They're all there, but
so
and all I'd say,
so
I'm going to go ahead and put it in there for posterity's sake.
At least load this one. This will be our mea culpa for the audio. And then,
terrible.
Brian, at some point...
Well, I mean, should he do it right now?
Yes, you have it queued.
Just...
All right, do you want to do...
Can we... No, we're on YouTube now. Can't I just take, like, lashes?
No.
Say
this
it.
will only take you a
repeat after
second.
Brian.
All you
it won't
have to
take
do
long.
is repeat this.
We've all done this.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
all
I
had to
know,
give
I've
the
heard.
apology. All right, ready?
I'm better than... No, I'm not.
Ready, Travis?
I was born ready 10 weeks ago.
I'm a stupid moron
I am absolutely a stupid moron.
with an ugly face
That we all know it's an ugly face.
and a big butt,
It is a very big butt.
and my butt smells,
And my butt smells.
and I like to kiss my own butt.
I like to kiss my own butt.
All right, there you go.
There you go. Hey,
Done and done.
inaugural apology. Hopefully it'll be the last for you. But look, we all have to do it. I'm probably gonna. I am on the border after my Nico Jackson take last week of having to back that up. I'm gonna have to.
Or Callum Wilson
little
even. That was
crow.
the other one.
Woo, you're fine.
Yeah, I'll stick by my Callum Wilson. But still, Nico Jackson though. Brian. Anyways, we'll get into that. All right.
Yeah.
So.
Let's go straight to it.
Awesome start, Trav. Way to go. Abby, shout out to you. I know you are watching, and hopefully you are, of course, as you're selecting your team, as I kind of directed her how to like select a team. I said you can't be Manchester United and you can't be Chelsea. Honestly, I mean, I gave her everything else. I even gave her City. Like, no United, no Chelsea. That's typically my rule. So Anyway, so we'll see. Abby, I'll text me an update because I know you'll probably watch this because, again, I sent her the link and she's like, I'm going to start watching. So here we go.
She lied to you.
Maybe.
Never happened.
No, Abby, if Abby says it, I believe it. All right. All right, so we are here, Brian. Look, this is match week 36 is now officially over.
Man, can you believe
The demolishing of United happened yesterday as Palace shocked a lot of people, shocked me, and demolished them 4-0. And we're going into match week 37. Now, 37 is kind of 38, there's a lot of goals in 38, but sometimes because 37 sets up 38, sometimes the lineups aren't as concrete as they normally are nailed down. I have a bench boost left. My last chip, I will definitely be playing in 37. That's not shocking. I think a lot of people will end up be playing their bench boost in 37. And I had all things considered, it felt like a pretty good week this week. Yet until I had all red arrows. I had a 95, all red arrows, until I finally got some green arrows after the Palace United match. Mateta came in off the bench for me as Bruno did not play, and I got 2 from Garnacho, so I got another 8 points or whatever. So
that was enough.
Whatever it was, I think I ended up with a 90. Maybe it's 93. Anyways, I ended up with a 101. Brian had a great week with a 104.
105.
What was it? 105.
Yeah.
And then I haven't even checked the rest of the league. I can't believe anyone else will have beaten this score, but league. Liver of Grealish, League Max, I believe. Yep. I don't 139. I mean, shot out off the bat. Like I saw that. That is shocking.
Incredible.
Went in front of me. The reason why I noticed it, he went flying past me in the podcast.
Incredible.
League. So
no chip too. That's the other part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No chip.
Incredible.
League Max, Liver of Grealish dropped a 139 and is now 5 points ahead of me. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
And then League Mark, Cess Dogs and Rock and Roll.
Cesk
Drogs and Rock and Roll.
I love the name.
A lot of thought went into that. He turned into 111. So there's some excellent scoring.
Think of the strategies. The only strategy that was a failure here was free hit 29. That's like the one thing that if you did that, you did it wrong.
I think I free hit. No.
The only thing
I free hit 29?
I think you did.
You did.
I mean, the only thing you could do in free hit.
No, but I had to.
The only thing in free hit 29 that you could have done.
You didn't have to do anything.
No, I had to.
You didn't. The free hit 29, the only thing you could have done was gotten like a 20.
I had a 28.
Instead of getting an 11.
I had a 28.
Right. And the difference between
the average that week was 12.
Right.
So percentage-wise, it literally was double. I mean, technically points are points, so technically it's only...
But if you save the free hit for 34, you probably got to, there was variance, I hate that, but there was variance there because you could have picked a few wrong players and had a bad score on a free hit 34.
I had a 129 and 34.
Right, the scores were huge in 34.
Yeah.
And then if you saved your wild card for 35, you mostly did okay. Like it just seems like the scores have been so gigantic here at the end of the year. It
does seem to be
it's setting up
bigger than the last couple years. I feel like 3 or 4 years ago, you had some chips that crushed that really kind of skyrocketed you. You've made some really excellent decisions. Your chips. You've played your chips at a good time, but like this week with a 105. Like there was you didn't have a chip this week.
I didn't even make a transfer this week.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. All right. All that being
said,
time
for the hits this week.
I mean, you bench boost too, right? Or
bench boost active.
Yeah,
I have 2 transfers. I have 2 dead defenders. So I could take what I've got.
Are you going to go -8 with your 2 transfers?
Well, so
because I'm probably going to go -8 with 3 transfers.
We will talk through this because I've got you.
Okay.
We will go as fast as we can through the doubling teams, and then talk about the others receiving votes, all the other single game week people, or any the single game week stuff that you feel like because I think some of it has to do with this week.
Right.
Obviously, like you have, I think they're with whatever transfer you're doing, it has to have an eye toward game week 38. But I've got questions. So
all right.
So let's get on.
Let's dive into it. We're not going to necessarily jump to teams, Brian. Let's jump right to
all advice this week. By the way, is with the usual, but this week more essential caveat of get as many player updates as you can before making your transfers, because when we get to Newcastle, that's like that's one of the ones where there's like, hey, there's someone actively telling you hold off.
I kind of want Gordon.
Okay, so but I'm just saying, like this week, I've already seen like people saying with putting the emoticon lock on their posting that and saying transfers done, team locked, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't know that yet. It's not even Thursday. There's days worth of updates to get. Whatever. I'm just saying. To me, this was like there's already news that would make you say, I think I gotta hold off on a couple things for sure.
All right,
go on.
All that being said, let's just jump right into. I want you to list the teams that are doubling.
Let's start with City, because I feel like there's the most to talk about with them.
Okay, let's go there. City. So I already have 3 City players. I got Gardeval, Foden, and Holland.
Right. Is there any reason to not have those 3? And I would say I can answer that question.
Okay, answer that question, Brian. Is there any reason?
You answer.
Is there
first.
any reason to not have those 3?
Yes, if you want to
KDB,
if you want to be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
KDB over Foden potentially because of what Foden's done the last couple of weeks.
So, did you ever think there was going to be a week where captaining Holland was like its own little differential? Like,
it's weird, right?
I can't believe it.
Like this past week?
Yeah. Because did you do it?
I didn't.
I did.
Who did you go with?
I captained Watkins as a differential.
That
because I'm stretching.
Right.
Like I'm legitimately trying to like grasp.
Yeah, but you have to do those moves,
right.
Kinda
but that's why this week it looked like if there's a week
there was other options.
I thought there was a lot of options.
Yep, there were.
I said I cannot tell you how I was hovering over clicking the name Phil Foden, making captain and switching Holland to vice captain. Like that was at the deadline, and it was one of those like I'm not really sure why I didn't do it, because I kept looking at him like Foden has been, by the numbers, has been by far the better City asset.
Okay.
As far as the numbers go. And listening to Manchester City Alex this week, he gave his thoughts kind of ahead of the match. It was like a 20-minute thing that he just kind of talked through and said it really kind of comes down to how Wolves set up, and it could be Holland occupying space with De Bruyne and Foden making cleaning up messes or whatever, or occupying kind of making those runs, and they're the ones, or it could be Holland could just do what he usually does and just run rampant on them. It just kind of depends. To me, anybody that you picked that was not Erling Haaland this week was an okay choice.
Right.
This seemed like the week to do it, but whatever. It just didn't work out for.
There were some good matchups,
but it's not. You didn't get a double of 21. If you, last 5 game weeks for Manchester City, I like 5. I think 5 is a
good number.
I feel like at this point that's in your the form wheelhouse. Haaland 44 points, De Bruyne 42, Gvardiol 39, Kyle Walker 24, Foden and Rodri 21.
Yeah, Foden's only played two of the
right.
5.
Yeah,
but I bet that's
it was.
But even this week, like if you had De Bruyne, I don't blame you at all for having him. Did you expect a 2?
No
way.
No.
Did you expect 1 assist from Foden after all that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I just
probably
feel like that was.
just
I just thought it was a low.
Oh, okay.
This many goals. Yeah,
yes,
many
I
goals
would have expected maybe a little more,
if not more.
Right.
But at least he got an assist.
Shots in the last 5 game weeks. Haaland and De Bruyne tied for on. This is just on the team, obviously. This is just Manchester City players.
Yeah.
Haaland and De Bruyne 17 shots each. Julian Alvarez 15.
Yeah. Well, but he started one game and Haaland didn't.
Doku 10. But Alvarez keeps coming off the bench and being awesome.
Yeah.
Doku 10, Gvardiol 9, Foden and Kovacic 6. Phil Foden, for that, all the while Haaland was either recovering from injury or even when, kind of those matches that he was kind of getting back up to speed. it was like Foden 3 times the output of Haaland. Now in the last 5 game weeks, you're right, hasn't played. I get that.
The numbers are the numbers.
But the numbers are way down. Shots on target go
So,
Haaland, De Bruyne, Alvarez, Gvardiol.
Right.
Big chances are exactly what you'd expect. Haaland 10, and then after that, nothing you expect. Julian Alvarez 5 big chances. Every other Manchester City player either 1 or 0. In the last 5 weeks, Haaland 10 big chances to score, Alvarez 5. Every other City player 1 or 0.
The only other person that's in the box other than Haaland is maybe Silva, right?
Well, now it's been Gvardiol.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Touches in the box, De Bruyne 33. Haaland and Doku 30. Alvarez 29. Gvardiol 19. Foden tied with Mateus Nunez with 11.
Whoa.
And he's actually behind Rico Lewis, Kovacic,
again,
and Rodri.
He's only played 2 of the games. If we wanted to look at it like this, just numbers spinning numbers here.
Right.
The last 3 games Foden has played, it's been a 20, a 16, and a 5.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that,
Yeah.
it's like,
De Bruyne, creative, he's by far the most creative, but big chances created. De Bruyne's created 7 big chances in the last 5 weeks, and he's got 3 assists. So there's a case for your 3 City assets to be Haaland, De Bruyne,
and Gardeval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, honestly, based on the numbers, Julian Alvarez is still going to play.
But like
he's getting it. There's no
If-
way. Yeah,
if-
you're not doing it.
I
with
would
the
look
other
at it
forward
differently in this double match week if it wasn't every single thing's on the line. They cannot afford a draw.
Right.
So not even a draw. They can't sniff a draw.
Right.
And so everything has just got to be dead on.
Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Gvardiol, Kyle Walker, Rodri.
No one's owning Rodri.
I feel like they're all legit choices, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but like
This week, did you expect that it was going to be Rodri who gets the double-digit
no
return?
Fair. Okay,
I'm
fair,
just saying, like,
fair.
I'm not saying like, oh, you're gonna
Sure.
I'm just saying, like, the obvious choices have been obvious for a while. I think it would be a wild transfer if you're like, I have Foden, but I'm really feeling that De Bruyne is going to go crazy.
Right.
This
It's
double
not
week.
worth a hit for me here.
You'd have to, because that's what I would have to do if I really wanted to field a full bench boost team.
Right.
So anyway, I'm just saying, like, just so weird to see like this many, and then like this week where they can win the title at Spurs.
Not true. Because if they draw their last game.
Oh yeah, you're right. So they still have to win out. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, assuming Arsenal continues to win, assuming Arsenal beats United, let's look at the schedule right now. I'm pretty sure I brought the fixtures up a second ago.
City is they're the early kickoff against Fulham on Saturday. So City's the first game. You'll have news. Presumably you'll have, like, it's the leakiest.
Arsenal's currently on 83 points. City's on 2. Obviously played one less match.
Right.
So you're right. City's got the early game against Fulham.
Yeah, and I assume you'll get a
Arsenal plays 11:30 at United on Sunday. So City has a chance to be in first place with a win at Fulham for Saturday.
And you'll get a leak that will be incorrect for the
City match.
Dave, you did transfer in Gvardiol? That was your move this week?
Week before.
Right, you did it on the pod.
So he was in my team this week.
Has he gone over? He was 12% selected this afternoon. Did that go up?
I have it right
It's just
here.
over 12 right now.
Is that
12.1.
is that weird?
12.1.
Is that do people have other fires to put out? Is that why he's at 12%?
That's what I don't understand, is that there's not that many other defenders that are doing anything.
I mean, he is the defender to own right now.
We talked about it last week, and then the first thing that happens in this game is he gets, the fakest dumb penalty that you've ever seen, getting kicked in the box. I don't know. To me, it was I feel like that was two guys going for the same ball, and I didn't see that as like who kicked him? Was it 8 Nori? I can't remember was it Kilman? Whoever kicked him, it just seemed like that was
Craig Dawson from the bench.
Yeah, it might have been. Adama Traore, I think, might have been the one. No, I just think it was one of those, like, I if they had not called that, if it had just been like a clattering together, but whatever. But he gets a return, still gets a return. Like, and then it finishes with a still stays on a bonus. I mean, look at his last starts. Look at the last 5 games for him. It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
They're not losing to Fulham. Fulham official.
I don't think they're going to lose. I'm just hoping for a draw.
Fulham official social media today. Thankfully,
they were flying kites.
Showed the team flying.
I
kites.
saw that. That's not a joke.
Hey,
they literally 3 of the players were flying kites after practice as they were heavily focused on their game against City. So
these numbers, courtesy of the Fantasy Football Scoutcast that happened earlier today. Fulham, the last 6 games, Fulham is second only to Manchester City for expected goals against. So they've been porous. They're second best.
Oh,
their XG.
Okay, sorry,
XG
I
conceded. XG against. They're the second. They're the second lowest.
Wow.
So City's 1, Fulham is 2. 6.1 expected goals conceded, but they've actually conceded 8 goals.
It's not great.
They have 2 clean sheets in the last 6
They've
games.
been overachieving a little bit.
The 2 clean sheets, though, were against tired West Ham in game week 33, and I guess you could say it beached Brentford.
Yeah.
So, and they should have won.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been 1-0.
Right.
Raul Jimenez should have put his shot away, but whatever. He can't kick. So to me,
who can?
City's not losing to this. They're not losing to this team.
All right. No, I'm just hoping for a draw.
Can Spurs turn it around against Burnley enough to give you any hope that they won't? That Spurs can get any kind of result?
I hope so.
Does that feel weird?
If they're going to do it against anybody, it'll be Burnley. They're going to get scored
fans,
on.
If City just smashes Fulham or just wins, it will be one of the weirder Spurs City
easily
game.
The most conflicted that either fan base
Any
will be.
Arsenal fan will be the most Spurs fan that day.
Yeah.
And if you're the Spurs, you're like, do we really want to win this?
Exactly.
Because if we draw this,
right,
we have a chance of handing Arsenal the title.
Yeah, I
think the players are going to play, but the fans, I think, are going to have a little mixed emotions there. But then again, Spurs need the points if they want to try to get into the top 4.
John Champion says they have realistically no chance at doing that, but you've already said you don't like his smugness, so we'll see if he's right or not.
There's still a chance. Numerically, they can get into
for sure
the top 4. They need Villa to lose out, but they could do it.
It was a great start for Villa to lose against Brighton the way they did. Dave, bad news. Spurs are, in the last 6 games, 4th worst for expected goals conceded.
Yeah.
12.5 XG conceded. They've actually conceded 15 goals.
Yeah, they're overachieved.
Really bad.
It's really bad, and they've been nowhere near a clean sheet. City, obviously, number 1 for both expected goals scored and expected goals against in the last 6 games. They are going to win 5-0, if not more. And then everybody gets to be nervous for game week 38.
I don't know. Spurs can show up. The question is, can Spurs sustain? And that's against Liverpool. They had those spells where they were doing exactly what they needed to do, but they couldn't sustain it for an entire match. It's like they switch on, switch off. In a
and they're doing more of what they did last year. It's the Liverpool problem of starting slow and deciding to turn it on. But when those two forces collide, and Liverpool's at home and Klopp's farewell tour, then massive advantage Liverpool.
They still almost lost it.
I mean,
they didn't almost lose it, but they made it scary.
Faded a little bit, but either way, that's it for City.
All right.
And then knowing that, so you have game week 38. Everybody's got to go for it. So you're not doing.
We're gonna record one more time before match week 38.
Right.
So In fact, next time we record, it will be after the Spurs City match. So that will be earlier that Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
So we will be coming in. I could be a happy boy or just sad trickling
Coming in
along
hot.
boy.
Yeah.
All right. All that being said, and look, there's always a chance, even if City win the next 2 matches. We've seen some crazy things on the final day. I'll never forget. I will never forget the Aguero goal for City's first title. That was crazy.
Well, and
they beat United on goal differential, and United couldn't do anything about it. And that was against like a team that was getting relegated. Who was that? Was
Queens Park Rangers.
Is that right? Is that who it was? They had nothing to play for.
Fact check me. I mean, I feel like it is.
Man, it might have been QPR.
I think it was Queens Park Rangers.
So, anyways, all right. So,
and it'll
City
be,
check.
and that's a West Ham. You know, the last day is against West Ham, and
For
that's
City.
David Moyes. Yeah, it's game week 38 is City against West Ham, and West Ham, like David Moyes, now confirmed.
West Ham is no pushover.
Leaving the club after this season is over, and who knows? Are you going to get West Ham that wants to go out the right way, or are you going to be a West Ham that really is like, we're this?
West Ham has enough talent to be a problem.
I fact checked, by the way. It is QPR that he's
okay. Excellent work. Good job. Ryan.
I have
nice pull there.
Yeah, West Ham is
memory.
a weird one because they've had such an up and down season with Paqueta being out, Antonio being out, Bowen being injured but still playing.
Yeah.
Right, and so I wonder what they would have been able to do if they were healthy, if their primary players were healthy. Because they came out.
I was going to say, plus having to play Agbana and Kurt Zuma in their as a center back pairing. Which
honestly, I think that was his preferred pairing, though, wasn't it?
Well, not when Mavropanos got injured, so that was a blow because he was doing very well for them, and so either way,
it was the same story last year with Agbana. Agbana was
just
out.
Keep in mind that in 2024, Aaron Cresswell started a couple of times for them this season, which doesn't even sound
not
possible.
It's weird. He's older than you.
He is a little.
He's gotten old now.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
all right, so
isn't he? I can't remember his name. Forget it. I was going to say Mark Noble. I was going to say that Aaron Cresswell was Mark Noble's dad.
Wow.
But whatever.
All right. Doublers. Manchester City. Check.
I say go to Tottenham because you said a lot about
All
Tottenham.
right.
Let's talk about Tottenham.
Spurs is a doubling.
But I was going to say the bridge for West Ham was good because it went to Chelsea because Chelsea just played West Ham.
Wait, how do you go? Oh,
okay. Fair enough. Chelsea.
Fine. You want to talk about Chelsea? You talk about Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea kind of is smashing people at the moment.
That's the only reason why is that Chelsea absolutely demolished this week.
Let's continue to talk about good doublers.
The second reason why, if you crushed the scores this week,
you had Nico Jackson.
Likely you had Nick Jackson
in your team,
who didn't play particularly well, but poached and he was in the right spot.
Yeah,
right? It happens basically.
Well, but he's been even missing those.
Yeah,
so the fact that he got them this time.
All right, and again, I will apologize. Last week, I said, for the most part, maybe he was saying it without saying it.
Oh, I said,
ain't no way I'm going to Nico Jackson because he can't finish. He cannot finish.
You may have said those exact words.
We'll never know because the recording's not up. So
the YouTube isn't. But all that being said, I have to say it. I was wrong. I should have done it. That was a difference significantly between me falling or me being in first place or being like within a point of view, probably.
Yeah. Actually, that's probably almost exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So you guys are at 10 points.
I think we're at 10
point spread right now.
Yeah, because you got to subtract the person who anyways, whatever. But I would have been closer. So Brian and I we're fighting for the top of the mini league. Also, I don't know if we're gonna catch the league leader and our podcast league leader. I think his Flecken team is it League Xander? Is that who's there? If only there was a way. Why can I not?
Well, while you're looking that up, let me tell you that since Nick Jackson nailed down the starting spot in game week 24, he's 5th for scoring among forwards.
Wow.
Which even despite the big return this week, a decent he's had multiple, like 2 double-digit returns in the last few weeks.
Right.
He's still, it's still only good enough to get him into 5th. he's ahead of some names, but I just think this week, if you went to him when he scored his 14 or whatever it was 3 game weeks ago, something like that, you would have been like sad and then sad again, and then you get the double week and you're like, oh, I'm happy because he got a goal against Spurs, and you're like, well, maybe that's something. Maybe he can get one other goal, and then he comes to West Ham and absolutely smashes them.
Right.
Tied for 5th with goals, is 7th for XG. He's tied for 9th in shots. He's tied for 5th for shots on target. It said he's had 11 big chances. So I mean, we talked about that last week, that he just hasn't put enough of those away. It doesn't matter how many times we're going to talk about a forward who's good or bad missing a ton of big chances. It just is the nature of of being in spot scoring positions. One of the weird ones is that he has the most since game week 24. He's number 1 for assists among forwards.
Wow!
So he's got 4 FPL,
That's interesting.
3 real assists, 1 FPL assist. So 4 assists is number 1 overall for forwards since game week 24. So
that's interesting.
That was space occupied solely by Ollie Watkins until he decided to drive off a cliff here in the last little bit. But either way, I mean. The other part of it, too, last 6 games, Chelsea is 5th for team XG. So you've seen, like, they just are, whatever this system is, however they've figured this out, it's working a lot.
I hate to say this, but, Cucurella is inverting, and it's creating chances. I don't know how that is responsible for this, but that's one of the things has been changing.
He has played well.
Is Cucurella has been inverting.
He shut down the I know because I had Brennan Johnson. He shut down the Brennan Johnson side of against Tottenham, and then played a ridiculously good game against West Ham.
The other thing that has changed is Chalobah has been playing.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look when he started playing 90 minutes to where they are over the last 5 match weeks, their rise has and their gameplay has matched when Chalobah has been playing matches.
Yeah, we can talk about him because I feel like he's like a low priority transfer, but he's an option.
So if you're me and I have Doughty and Virgil, and if I'm probably actually I'm gonna play bench boost this week. I'm willing to take 2 hits. I'm not willing to go minus 12. I'm willing to go minus 8. And I was thinking about bringing in Jackson for Mateta.
Okay.
Because Isak's got a double. Holland's got a double.
Yep.
And I was thinking about bringing in Gordon for Bruno Fernandes since Bruno's hurt. And maybe I'll get an injury update from you, Brian, a little bit later. But possibly bringing in, if Bruno's going to be healthy, then I would bring Gordon in for Garnacho. And or maybe Saka. Or Gordon for Saka. And then send Doughty out for Chalobah.
Yeah.
Or a Chelsea defender, as silly as that sounds. But because they've kind of gotten through this stretch, continuing to play decent defense, you're like, how is that even possible? But they've done it. And, I mean, look, Thiago Silva played this past week. He got an 11.
Yeah.
Now, granted, any Chelsea defender did well this past week. I was just very surprised by it. They... didn't they beat Tottenham? They beat Spurs 2-0. They beat West Ham 5-0.
Yeah.
So
you're the defenders. There isn't really anything other than it's kind of like with Spurs. Last week when we kind of went through their numbers, there's not a lot between them. It's not like one guy is doing a ton more than anyone else. Like no one is shooting a ton more. Cucurella maybe is more creative, but I just don't think that's not what you're getting him for, I guess. Like in the last 6 games played, he's created 5 chances. So it's like that's not, and that's just kicking the ball into a space. I mean, that's not like even on the team, Thiago Silva's got 3 chances created. So it's not like nothing. There's nothing to separate those guys. But yeah, Chalobah
going back to match week 33.
He looks very good.
Chalobah's got 6-1-2, 15-6.
Also, I would say though, Jared Bowen hit the woodwork 3 times in this game.
It looked like he was.
So
is he going to Liverpool next season? Is he training to try out for Liverpool, hitting the woodwork? Is that
Probably.
so? What that was? Is he showing?
It depends on what manager.
Is he out there showing off the skill of his wood?
It depends on how they decide to build on this.
I could see Luis Diaz getting sold and Jaron Bowen being brought in.
I mean, honestly, and I'm mocking
Terrible.
it, but no, yeah, like
So,
that's, what's wrong with that?
what I was gonna say-
there's nothing wrong with that.
There are 5 teams with an XG over
Especially
that's
if Luis leaves.
double digits in the last 6 games. Okay, so it's City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Chelsea. They're the only 5 teams. Every other team is below 10.
Okay.
But they're attacking. They've looked awesome to me. These clean sheets, like no one was expecting a clean sheet against Tottenham. I don't think.
No, I'm not sure anyone was
even close.
expecting
And
a clean
then-
sheet against West Ham.
Well, that's what I'm
The
saying.
rest
Like
of the season.
right, like even because I had Petrovic in my team, 2 game weeks ago, and I'm thinking like, oh man, just if he can get some saves, I mean, at least that'll salvage. Like maybe I can get 5 points out of this or whatever. And the fact that he got a sheet on one of them is like, what the heck? That's impossible. And then, like, I benched him for Dubravka this week, and I was like, because of course I'm going to play Sheffield. I'm not gonna, I'm going to take the better on paper matchup, and sure enough, they get another one. I'm just like, to me, like you get into like they're at Nottingham Forest and at Brighton. So at Nottingham Forest is 3 points ahead of Luton. So they're
fighting.
Not safe, absolutely fighting with an attack that has,
It's slick.
It's depending on if Alonga plays, but Callum Hudson-Odoi, one of the goals of this half of this calendar year, unbelievable goal this week. He scored 2, but either way, Callum Hudson-Odoi
Going back to a place he has a point to prove.
right,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
they got
Good
Gibbs
call.
White, an off the boil Chris Wood who can't seem to hit anything. Can't seem to put anything in the net now. Who where he was doing that easily 4 weeks ago or whatever. So like Nottingham Forest to me is not. It's not like great. Like I feel like this is Nottingham Forest has way
It's
more
a bad matchup, but
I shouldn't say they have more. Like their determination to stay up, it probably slightly outweighs Chelsea's chip on their shoulder to like whatever this is.
Chelsea
Proves
is
that they
trying
can
to
play.
get
Right.
to Europa and or European play.
That's the thing. Like they're obviously still trying.
Yes.
Like they are. Feels like they're finally clicking, and they are now up against a team that's like the most desperate possible. So I don't know what. Like to me, I don't know how
I feel
much
like it's
that.
like a 1-1.
Well, I don't know how that.
I
I don't know how much that cancels each other. You know what I'm saying? Like to
Okay.
me, it's not like, oh, that's amazing. They get that green matchup against Nottingham Forest. Like it's not
it's
that
definitely
green.
not green. Yeah.
And then at Brighton, like both of those teams have been middling defensively for a while. So
And Brighton pulled one out of the hat this week.
they had like Joao Pedro, who has never looked like he's stopped. Like that guy, like for whatever reason, like just always has like just feels like he's on animal instinct here to try to like score goals or whatever. He always looks like he's up for it. So I guess what I'm saying is like,
I mean, that was a dubious penalty, but sure.
and he missed it though.
I mean, yes.
He
but
ended up scoring, but either way, like
his animal instincts kicked in. He headed it in.
I guess what I'm saying is like this double game week feels great for Nick Jackson, for Cole Palmer, and then the guys I really wanted to talk about was Madueke and
Gallagher
and Connor Gallagher. I like Madueke.
Hold on.
As much as I
So
like,
if you're gonna have three,
Jota.
if you're gonna have 3 Chelsea players, you'd rather
Well-
have it in the midfield than a defender.
So, but to me, if you're paying attention, Palmer's a non-negotiable.
Sure.
So you've already taken up that spot. Seems
Nico.
like you're gonna. I don't know how you avoid Nick Jackson.
Right.
The question is, if you want to put a third guy in there, the reason why I wouldn't be mad about picking the midfielder is Bournemouth at home in game week 38. So you get two,
I agree with that.
greenish, like 2 favorable matchups for the double,
But then now
And
I'm
then
still
home-
stuck with Doughty.
and then home, right? Well, you got other.
I'm trying to bring another a defender in.
Bring in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. No, I think what's hard is Cole Palmer. It's just that Cole Palmer's been overshadowed by those two guys for the last 2 game weeks,
right.
which was a bit unexpected. I don't think it's that terribly shocking, but since game week 32, I went back that far.
Oh,
which is when Madueke nailed down the starting spot in the midfield.
Okay,
Madueke.
I was gonna say,
that's not Madueke.
Oh, can we bring back? It's too late. Maybe it's too late this season
to do a
how to say. I feel like
it's a little late.
I feel like
nobody wants to do that.
We'll save. I do, and I like that segment. We're gonna bring those back next season.
Since game week 32,
whether Travis likes it or not.
Cole Palmer.
I'm not going to be here. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's being relegated. Cole Palmer 47 points. Madueke 41. Connor Gallagher 33.
Wow, so Madueke is closer to Palmer than I would have expected.
It goes Palmer, Madueke, Gallagher,
Madueke,
all the way down for the most part. So goals: Palmer 5, Dookie 3, Gallagher 2. Shots: Palmer 22. Madueke 15, Gallagher 6.
Okay.
So since game week 32, Connor Gallagher has taken 6 shots.
Not many.
Madueke 15, Palmer 22. So it's exactly like in the order, kind of the ascending order or descending order, however you want to see it. More shots on target for Cole Palmer, 6, 10 for Palmer, 6 for Madueke, 2 for Gallagher. 2 shots on target since game week 32 for Connor Gallagher. Basically what I'm saying is the big chances are heavily in favor of Palmer. The XG obviously in Palmer's favor. Madueke 39 touches in the opposition box. Palmer 17. Connor Gallagher 12. Madueke creatively then it's basically the same. Gallagher and Madueke each have 2 assists.
Let me ask you a question real quick before you go too crazy because you're leaning pretty heavy on something where there's an issue. How many 90 minutes do you think Madueke has played this season?
Right, not a ton. I'm just saying.
Take a guess.
I would say not.
8.
Hold on.
8. Okay.
I think the question begs the answer. I think 0.
He's only played 90 minutes twice this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Twice this season.
Right, and
all of his minutes have come in the past 7 weeks.
Right, and that's
6,
why.
7
Yeah,
weeks.
and that's why I'm saying since game week 32, the numbers, they're not his score. But I'm saying even the numbers though, since game week 32, Cole Palmer's got 47 points, and he's had some big games in there. Yeah. Madueke's got 41. The gap between the two of them, minutes aside, to me, why Connor Gallagher is the 7th most transferred in.
Yeah.
This game week.
Madueke's the answer.
Is weird to me, considering Madueke is cheaper. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a 10th, he's still less.
He's earned the spot too. It's not like he's going to go back out of the team.
Right. So I just think he's worth I think he's worth a look. 41 points in the last 5 game weeks is 6th overall for midfielders.
All right.
So he's the number 6 scoring midfielder in the last 5 game weeks.
Surprising that it's as low as 6.
And then he's the number 5 overall for touches in the opposition box. So I'm saying game week 38 at home against Bournemouth, where Bournemouth are now, I would want as much of the Chelsea attack as I could get a hold of. So maybe you don't bring him in for the double, but maybe you have someone else. I have Brennan Johnson, and I have I have my 3 Chelsea, the 3 Chelsea spots are taken up for me. I would have to take a hit to either remove Petrovic or, I'm not taking out Palmer or Jackson. So it would have to be a goalkeeper change that would then make Brennan Johnson turn into someone like Madueke. And I'm not doing that. But if you had that spot, I don't think it's bad. I'm saying you get the number 5 overall scoring midfielder in on form right now. Mm-hmm. For a double game week and then a home match against Bournemouth.
Yeah, that's great.
That to me, I feel like that is something that is worth a heavy consideration.
All right, is that the last thing from Chelsea?
The only other thing is
Is there a defender that if there's one defender that if you had,
Petrovic as a goalkeeper, depending on how your goalkeepers are, Petrovic is obviously a better buy than Onana.
Okay.
It's a toss-up, I think, because of the Spurs matchup against Burnley. Maybe it's a bit more of a toss-up based on what we said with Brighton and Nottingham Forest. Like, Spurs get Burnley. I don't know what you're counting on for a clean sheet there, but whatever. Like, that feels more toss-up between the two of them.
Okay.
He's definitely better value than Ederson.
Okay.
And then I'd say maybe more secure than Dubravka, but I don't think he's losing his spot even if Pope's healthy.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it.
So, that's my goalkeepers are Petrovic and Dubravka, but if I had Onana right now, I'd probably switch.
You're probably not caring because your team, there's no way you're competitive if Onana's been your goalkeeper.
I mean,
all right.
We'll talk about them.
Whatever. All right. So, transitioning now to the mighty Spurs, who had a collapse of a weekend, and they got pummeled by Liverpool 4-2. So we were singing. No, we weren't singing. We were crying Liverpool's blues over the last few weeks, and then they come into this match. Arguably, they're a more tougher opponent, and Travis, they were like, weren't they up like 4-1 at one point?
4-0. It was
4-0. They were demolishing them. I mean, it was a demolition. And we don't have to dwell on Liverpool too long right now. Maybe, I don't know. Alexander still had Salah in his team. Credit to him, gets 13 points when I think a whole lot of people, including this guy sitting in this chair, sold Salah going into this match.
He's long gone. No, the Spurs, that the first half, the first 60 minutes, I mean, from the time until Andy Robertson went out of the game, it was cruise control Liverpool, and then Richarlison came on.
Travis, what'd you see in this game?
Yeah, the Andy Robertson coming off changed things pretty significantly for Liverpool. Same thing with Endo as well, and Stefan Bajcetic coming in. Klopp used the terminology. Stefan looked like he was riding a bicycle on the motorway, which is fair. I think he played a decent game, but he was definitely off the pace. And Endo was playing fine, breaking things up. But when Endo went off and Gomez came on for Andy Robertson, anytime you bring on Maddison and Richarlison, you just upgraded your offense.
I just don't know why. I mean, I don't know what I haven't seen anything. I just
why they didn't start.
Well, I kind of understand why. I mean, we said last week, there was suggestions from different Spurs players or different Spurs outlets that Maddison might be carrying something or had been for a while. I get it with Richarlison. He's just recently back from yet another injury, so. It just seems like.
What are they playing for at this point? I mean, could they catch Villa?
Mathematically, yes, they can still get fourth.
Yeah.
So
Villa has to continue to implode,
and they're fighting off for fifth. In other words, Newcastle, is
Newcastle
within barking range for fifth.
Yes.
So all that to say.
And technically, Chelsea is too.
Flattering.
Yeah, Chelsea's
technically,
there.
Chelsea is
Chelsea
too.
can get them too. Yeah.
All that to say is flattering for Tottenham that they scored 2 goals. I think Liverpool gave them those goals. Their personnel changes made them more disorganized in the second half after that. And then from there, again, it was the foot off the gas. There was no real motivation to do anything else. So, but credit to Tottenham. They fought.
If Salah knew how to stay on side, or Darwin knew how to stay on side, you could have had 5 or 6.
Maybe even more.
Wait a minute. The speedster Van de Ven couldn't sweep up every single moment?
They were getting played through.
Yeah, it was a mess.
It was not great for Tottenham. They did not look organized. It was not good.
Problem A is that you had Emerson Royale getting
torched.
Absolutely torched.
Yeah, he was having a hard time.
So a target for obvious.
Everything was going
target.
down the right, which is fine because that's Salah's side. And honestly, we usually do that anyways. But yeah, definitely getting targeted, no question. There was always an outlet down the right.
All right, Brian. So Spurs have rattled off a few very poor performances.
There's 4 on the bounce.
It was awful.
So what is anyone to take?
Well, I mean,
adding Spurs assets going into this.
I mean, 5 weeks ago, the thought was 2 doubles, and we said like matchups that were unfavorable to their defense, favorable for the offense, and now the offense can't sort it out. So offense can't get anything going against Chelsea. Takes Richarlison coming on, and various just I don't know. The effort also picked up when those guys came on.
It absolutely picked up.
So it was both things. I mean, it was them.
Madison looked like he was a man on fire.
Right. And so, just kind of looking through, same metric as any other time, last 5 game weeks, your number one shot taker for Tottenham is James Madison. Yeah. That, to me, is wrong. He's played basically what amounts to about half the minutes. He's played almost 150 fewer minutes than Brennan Johnson has. He's played, Son's on 418 minutes. Madison's played 277, and he's taken more shots than any other player for Spurs. And I'm just like highest XG, everyone's underperforming here. Brennan Johnson, I think, is I wish he would have played more than. I wish he would have started against Chelsea. Right. I think he got 59 minutes. It was because Timo Werner So Timo Werner's out. So Timo's out for the rest of the season.
Hurt.
So that's an injury. They're debating. I think the debate is whether or not they'll activate the permanent. Make him a permanent transfer. I guess they might.
What else can they do? I mean, are they going to splash? That's just not how they do things.
No, and Angel I don't know. Who knows what kind of stink he's willing to raise. It doesn't seem like much. But either way, yeah, I wouldn't know where to tell you to go other than if you have the spot and you want to take the risk, Richarlison is clearly the pick.
Okay.
If you have Son in your team,
you're probably not getting rid of him.
You're not getting rid of Son. Son is the penalty taker. They are about to play. It's
Burnley City.
Yeah, it's Burnley City, and then
Bournemouth,
and then at Sheffield.
In
38
final match week.
So you want to go out with a bang, game week 37. Let City beat you so that Arsenal can't win the title. And then thrash Sheffield in the last game of the season.
To sneak into the top 4.
Yeah, I don't.
Assuming Villa ends up collapsing.
But if that happens, they still won't get it because they're too many points behind.
No.
Either way,
because they've lost the City at that stage.
Oh good call.
I'm just saying, Son gets a goal, Richarlison gets a goal and an assist, Brennan Johnson gets the assist on the Richarlison goal. So all the guys who have been the most likely goal involvement people for them are the ones who put the 2 goals. They are the ones who accounted for the 2 goals that they finally get to score after all this time where they've looked so bad. It was Brennan Johnson, Richarlison,
gotcha,
and Son.
So
after all of the debate about which of the defenders to bring in, do you want Vicario? The answer to all of those questions has been no. None, no to all. And I'm not sure how. The one thing that you could say is so many people went to Porro. You have Porro, if you have Romero, I would probably go. That would be your defender choices if you don't have one. I don't have one. Connor Bradley and Kivior have to become somebody for me. I need a defender. So those are my 2 guys going out. And right away, I'm thinking do I just bite the bullet and say I'll just go for Porro?
Right, so I'm going to ask this question right now. So we've covered City, Chelsea, and now Spurs. Who, assuming I already have 3 City players, so I'm not making a transfer there. I got Holland, Foden, and Gardeval. I'm just going to ride it with Phil Foden, and I'll fall down, I'm sure, because I have fall down Phil in my team.
Right.
After City, what defense, if you're going to add a defender, is the best defender to add in the doublers. Now, that's also including Villa. That's not including Villa.
No, Villa's
Forgive
not
me.
doubling.
That's including Manchester United. That's including Brighton, Newcastle. So it's City, Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, Brighton, United. Those are the doublers.
You're
6 doublers.
You're definitely not buying a United defender.
Right. So United, City, gone.
You are, and we can talk about. We can talk about Brighton more later. I don't know why you'd want any of them, other than that they play.
Brighton's
twice.
playing Newcastle and Chelsea. I don't want a
Right.
Brighton guy.
Right. I just don't see how that's good.
They're not keeping clean sheets.
And then,
But Lewis Dunk will score against one of them.
so that would be the guy. If you were gonna do your options for Brighton defender are weird, other than Dunk.
Okay, so let's assume that we just write Brighton off. So no City, no United, no Brighton. That leaves Newcastle, Chelsea, Spurs.
Right. And
you don't love Spurs.
And I think if you're the only thing you're doing, the reason why if you're picking, you would pick one of them, and you would just hope that they can put it together because they're playing the 2 worst teams in the league in 2 of the next 3 games. They have 3 games remaining.
You're talking about Burnley and Bournemouth.
Tottenham is playing home
or Sheffield.
home to Burnley
Sheffield.
and at Sheffield. So
I know, but right now I'm just focusing on 37.
Right.
But yes, I see your point. You're saying if you're going to make one, at least the Chelsea guy is going to give you a shot in the final week.
Spurs can, like we said before, Christian Romero is the wild card defender. You have no idea. He's been the closest. Like we said it last week, he's had the most big chances. Like he's been in the with attacker level.
It's
big
been weird.
chances.
He's been like playing in the box as a second striker sometimes. Yes, Travis.
So my question is this: why worry about the doublers? If it just feels like such a trash pool, why not? Why not go to Ben White if you don't have him, or
well, I already have 2 Arsenal defenders, and again, I'm bench boosting, so I just want to fill it out.
Boosting, but you've also talked about moving Saka out,
maybe,
and maybe you just triple up on Arsenal, right? Defense.
Oh, I see your point.
You see what I'm saying? Like would I rather have double 2s or a 6?
Right. And we said,
right?
we said last week too. I mean, this is Everton plays Sheffield this week, and that's their only matchup. They play Sheffield at home this week.
Branthwaite's not a bad pick at that point,
And
right?
But then Branthwaite's playing Arsenal in the final week.
Yeah, but
then again, I can bench him.
Exactly, and you get another transfer next week, right? So,
yeah,
right. So I guess my point is
doublers
getting seduced by the
doublers might be fool's gold.
I would say so.
Brian,
as it stands right now.
Is that fair?
As it stands right now, I am bench boosting, but I am keeping my double Arsenal defense.
I am too.
And I have 3 doublers for 37. In defense.
Who?
Right now it's Van de Ven because I brought him in for the double.
Okay.
Way back when. Gvardiol and Dallo, which is not I don't want Dallo and Van de Ven, but I'm not going to take hits to get them out because they're going to play 2 matches. Right?
I do agree with that. If you have them, you just ride it out. Right. If you don't have one and wanted to add one, I'm just trying to figure out, is there one that is worth it? And I would feel like it's Chelsea. Chelsea's got the better games. It's at Forest and
but I also have Petrovic, Palmer, and
that's
Jackson,
why I'm saying like
can't do it.
That's why like the Bright to me, they did not seem like they were going to get a clean sheet against Spurs, and they did. I wouldn't have guessed based on the way the game played out that Chelsea would get a clean sheet against West Ham, but they did. Like, of course, things like that can happen. I'm just saying, like, the fact is, this is not Tottenham playing against, like, Nottingham Forest has been real bad, and they get them, and they're also playing, like they get Nottingham Forest and Everton or whatever. It's not. They're playing Sheffield and Burnley in 2 of their last 3 games. You're not counting on an attacking return from almost anyone in the City game. They could. They did. Like we said, reverse fixture. They scored 3 times. It's just the form. Their form has been so bad here in the last 4 games. Like that's why I'm asking. Like, can they even figure this out? And they still have the talent. Like they have the obvious clinical finishing. Heung-min Son still plays for them. Richarlison was nailed into most people's teams not that long ago, and he just had a goal and an assist off the bench against Liverpool. And I'm saying big chances. I'm saying in the last 5 games, Christian Romero has 2 big chances. Son has 3. I'm saying you've seen Christian Romero probably should have scored against Arsenal. He did. He could have scored twice. He scored 1 for sure. He could have scored another header. He's had he is the guy that's in he's just a target man in the box, and he's just crazy enough. So I'm saying if you were gonna pick someone, you're still if you wanted to pick a double game week player, to me it would. I
agree. I think it's Christian Romero.
You already have. I'm saying you. If you wanted to get Cucurella, sure, go for it. You might pick Malo Gusto, who played 7 minutes off the bench and seems like he might be fit to start here for Chelsea in the last games. You could do that. It's just I think you would want.
Romero's going to get the winner against City.
I mean,
I can feel it.
No,
I can feel it, Travis.
If you bring him in for that reason and that happens, we should. I don't know.
I'll go in on whatever you say.
We should give him.
I get an Arsenal away kit next
season.
season.
It's just not gonna happen. You want a yellow zebra print?
That would be unbelievable.
I waited too long and then I couldn't get one. I actually really wanted one.
You would.
I just want a long sleeve one too. Though. I like the long sleeves.
No,
cover up those ham hocks.
I'm saying last 5 game weeks for Spurs.
No, that's a good call, Brian.
Chances created. It's Son, Madison, Brendan Johnson, Kulishevsky, Porro. So but I'm just saying the attack is taking care of their business, kind of. They're still getting something. Son has kicked penalties. Yeah. He's gotten you an assist. Brendan Johnson has 3 big chances and got an assist.
Got you. All right.
I'm just saying
I got to push you off Spurs. But you're right.
Yeah, we already lost brother Matt. You've only got 15 minutes of battery left.
I know. That's what I'm looking at the clock here. I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah, it's true. It's dwindling.
Yeah, okay. I want to push to Newcastle. Okay, so we've covered City, Spurs, Chelsea in the double.
I think Newcastle kind of picks itself.
It's Isak, Gordon, and that's it.
It's Isak, Gordon, and then
Gramirish, maybe.
Well, if you the numbers are fine for him. He's just. I feel like the other midfield options, Bruno G, is the same as. I'd rather have Madueke.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
I thought you meant
I'm
Newcastle
just saying out of the Newcastle, right? I'm saying out of the other Newcastle people.
I don't like the Newcastle defenders.
The defenders, I have Dan Burn. Yeah. Fabian Schär was probably the trendy pick for everybody weeks ago. He's hurt. It's kind of up in the air. Nobody knows whether Eddie Howe is telling the truth or whether he's lying. Fabian Schär seems to think that he can still make it back a game. Eddie Howe's essentially ruled him out for the remainder of the season. What I was going to say is, so Isak is I think he's as non-negotiable, I think, as for most people as Cole Palmer is, or whatever. Sure. And then, so how huge of a game could he have had this week? Really huge. Callum Wilson scores a goal, plays 68 minutes. Great. Newcastle United FC Will, Twitter account or X, depending on how you think.
Thank you.
X.
A lineup, a guy who specializes in Newcastle United information specifically.
I love these guys.
Has said, hold fire on Callum Wilson transfers for now. He said he has heard some news today that he's waiting to confirm that he would just say basically transferring
tweaked his hamstring, getting out of the shower.
Transferring him in would be a mistake.
All I hear is Scott in my mind being like, I told you, Callum Wilson's fool's gold, can only play a couple games. I mean, Scott would be like, this surprises me not at all.
Well, if he had a reaction to his core muscle surgery or whatever it is, and he's like, actually, that caused some discomfort.
All right.
Who knows?
All right. So
either
again,
way, a
Gordon Isak.
a guy who is very much on like the differential and like
Fair.
not, like the radar of plenty of other pundits out there who have said like, hey, why not?
Keep an eye on Callum Wilson.
Well, even this week for transfers,
And
just
we-
to say like, why wouldn't you? He outscored, like I think that was the point. His last year, it was a similar situation, and he outscored Isak in a week where everybody kind of expected the opposite to happen.
Yep.
Either way, this is the guy. Like, it feels like there's some TBD news on this guy.
All right.
If he's going to be fit, he's your third over Jackson.
No way over Jackson.
It's just that's the thing. It's like if your front line, like the template front line, I think for the top,
Holland, Jackson, Isak. Everyone's going to have it.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you go off of that.
All right. So let's move to
Fair
enough.
The defenders.
Yes.
If you wanted to get Byrne, fine. There is so the news has been that Trippier was targeting Brighton for a return.
Okay.
So whether or not he's fit to play, to start and
I feel
play
like this
60
is
minutes
too
or whatever.
risky
There's
for me.
no way.
Too risky for me.
With Euros this summer, he's not gonna risk it.
I mean, I saw at least one account, a guy that's in the top 5,000 that he has bought and held Trippier for this reason.
My gosh.
And has Trippier buried on his bench and is just like, I brought him in on wild card in the hopes that he can do something by the end of the season.
That is some significant planning, or that is some significant stupidity.
Right.
I mean, if they just sit rotting on your bench, what do you care?
I don't.
That's an extremely expensive
if it's someone who's
bench rot.
frugal,
That's what I would say.
If it's someone who's frugal, he
Because his
doesn't like
price
to do
probably dropped to the point where
transfers.
that's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Livermento, Lewis Hall.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to him. You're not going to him, are you?
If you,
Is
I'm
Livermento
just saying,
hurt though?
For a differential?
No, he's back. I'm just saying
for
those are.
differential.
I'm saying those guys are gonna they could be the ones playing. Byrne is the safest. That's why I've got him. Dubravka doesn't seem like he's losing his spot. So I mean,
All right.
whether like this week, I was hoping like everybody was
Sure.
that it wasn't going to finish 4-1.
Sure.
And a hilariously late clean sheet wipeout. I'm not expecting a lot this week, but
Gotcha. Okay.
anyway.
Man United. Bruno, they don't have many fantasy worthy players, so this should go fairly quickly. What's the status of Bruno?
No one knows. No update.
Nothing. He didn't
No,
dress for the match.
So, no, it's the first game he's missed in what, like 500 games? Or
Yeah,
something like that?
it's a
some absurd
long
amount of time. It feels like, so I think he was is he the most sold? He's one of the top. He's easily. He has to be easily a
Current
top,
ownership is down to 17%.
But even transfers out. I mean, I think it was probably Salah, Bruno, Saka, or Salah.
Okay.
Salah, Saka, Bruno. I don't know. It just seems like the Palace result was so bad. It's like it erased the previous 9 game weeks for Bruno Fernandes. The people who have him. Look at his numbers.
I know.
Look at the numbers.
I know. It's
Like,
insane.
to me, it's the kind of thing where if you're buying him, you just got to hope that you're not going to find out that he's having like wrist surgery, because it was wrist and ankle. That is what was reported, that he was dealing with a wrist injury and an ankle injury.
Okay.
So, I mean, he could have had 200 points against Burnley 2 weeks ago, and then he misses this one game. I think there were plenty of pundits that were kind of expecting he was gonna play, because it's like he's an Iron Man. He's like everybody went back to that picture. Was it a year ago when it showed his?
When he's in that boot. Is it a boot?
Like a chalet or whatever, and his foot's in a boot, and he played that week.
Right.
Everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's done for 4 weeks or whatever."
All right.
He played.
But bottom line is he didn't dress, and there's a double here, and I'm bench boosting, and I need everyone playing.
You have to wait for an update, which
Oh,
you might
my
not
Lord.
get until Friday, if at all.
Oh my gosh! All right,
I don't know what time.
It's a wrist injury. I think I roll the dice on that.
meaning what? You send him out?
Keep him.
Keep him.
You got to hold him at least until you get
They'll
either.
splint him up and put him back out there, especially with as terrible as they're playing. They need him on the field.
Man, I just feel like in other words, like
what they need him for is the FA Cup final. They need him
Oh,
for
wow.
the FA Cup final.
That is true.
They
It's
do
literally the only thing that they care about right now.
They have mathematically, it's similar to Spurs getting fourth.
They have the same amount of points as Chelsea does, though.
They could.
So they're 2 points behind sixth place Newcastle.
That sounds wrong.
It does sound
All
wrong.
of that sounds messed up.
I just think they need fit players and their best team possible for the most important game they have left in their season. Like
In Ten Hag's tenure.
it's all
Most important game in Ten
At least for the next 3 games until he's gone.
not ever. Right. I'm just saying I just think
He did play Europa.
I just think this if they're going to I don't know.
You think
I think he plays.
You think this is You think this is a Son situation where oftentimes we're told Son's injured and then Son plays?
I think it's
Maybe.
he's by far their most valuable and important single player.
I mean, we see what happens when he's on the pitch. They get destroyed by Palace.
Well, that was not just that's what I was going to say. I don't
Palace
know.
is on the ascendancy too.
They had the worst possible defense. They had the worst possible midfield, and they're missing their most valuable creative and attacking
and look,
player.
Bruno's the type of guy that if you play against him, you absolutely hate him as a fan. If he's on your team, you love him. And he's the type of guy that gets out there and is not scared to get in anyone's faces and maybe raises the intensity of his own team as he's on the pitch, elevating his own intensity, therefore encouraging his other players to play along. He's not out there, they get shelled.
If you were to see him in training, you're already not expecting much from Manchester United against Arsenal. So already you're saying you're basically hoping that they can show up for Newcastle.
You're right.
So you're right,
and I don't expect much there either.
Right. I mean,
what was your pick for
Gordon?
No, Arsenal United match.
Well, if you think that I'll actually remember, you are giving me way too much credit.
It?
Brian is feverishly scrolling, and he is now looking at
Dave,
it.
your Arsenal update, just to keep everybody informed. You picked a 3-1 Arsenal victory against Bournemouth.
Okay.
So you got the correct
it was 3-0,
winning outcome.
Right? Wasn't it 3-0?
I think it was 2-0.
If only there was
I think you only scored 2.
It was 3-0. Get out of my face.
But it should have been 3-1.
Declan Rice got a last one in.
You should have been exactly right. Not 3-0.
What VAR or something?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yes.
No, what
they called a foul, the most hilarious possible foul, because Raya got nudged.
Oh.
And they ended up scoring on a putback. Nothing is more hilarious than the amount of nudging that they did on Vicario and got called for nothing, and they get a Bournemouth goal overturned because Raya got nudged.
Hey,
so dumb.
Don't do it for nudging.
So you were wrong on your score by barely.
Really close. Come on, I feel like that's close to getting credit.
But you were.
It's not. It's not right. Why would you give me?
Do you know how hard it is to get the score right?
It doesn't matter. We're not grading on a curve.
Oh my gosh! I know, but he's giving me wins and losses.
Anyway, your prediction for Manchester United, you predicted a 2-0 Arsenal.
If I could rescore it right now, I would probably say 4-0.
Yeah, that's what it feels. That feels.
But
right.
it is at United, so maybe 2-0 is appropriate.
Anyway, I don't see how there's going to be if Manchester United
Travis, you're right.
If Manchester United score, whatever athleticism and ability is in this rising version of Crystal Palace, Arsenal is far beyond that.
Right. Okay,
right.
Fair.
So what I'm saying is, not only are they more organized defensively, but they have better overall attack and a stronger holding midfield.
Sure.
like, yes, you absolutely should win that game, because that's what I was going to say about.
Especially because it was Michael Olise, Arsenal's future player, who was scoring those goals.
Please no.
Or is it United's
Please
future
do not.
player?
I hope
It's
neither.
happening.
Please
It's
do not let
happening.
it not happen.
He's going somewhere.
It's going
He's
to
not
Arsenal.
staying.
No, I was going to say for Manchester United, like, you know, even for Onana, because he was like the go-to goalkeeper for so many people. Like, he has 12 saves in his last 2 games. Like, is that enough extra points for you when they lose like by 12 goals to, you know, between Arsenal and Newcastle?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Arsenal and Newcastle should absolutely just jog those guys. It shouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, what is it about even for Bruno, where you're like, the only your hope is that they score 2 against Newcastle, I guess,
Right.
and that Bruno has involvement in both.
Yeah.
That makes him more like. Would you rather have Saka or Havertz in that one game against Manchester United, or Bruno for both of these games? You know what I'm saying?
It's sort of a toss-up, isn't it?
Right. It feels
Honestly,
like it.
I think Bruno is probably still the better pick as long as he's playing, though.
Right. That's why I'm saying you have to hold him. You would want to hedge toward like that guy, that quality of player playing twice, even if the matchups on paper don't look great.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to win the game for them. He just has to score fantasy points, right?
It's true.
And he does. Like, he does.
Yeah.
They play like trash. He gets a scrappy goal or a penalty, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just been kind of the story, and he's pissed about it, but his numbers are fine.
I would want to see, like, I really wonder, because it's so close to the end of the season, like, does he need to get fit? Do they give him
For
a
that
rest?
final.
Like, do they give him the extra game? So
Yeah.
don't waste him against Arsenal. They just get shredded.
We're going to lose anyways.
Right. And then we get one more home match against Newcastle, and then, you know, by then, hopefully we can play him back into, like, to get him ready for the FA Cup final.
Can Ten Hag... Yeah, the thing we're missing here, though, is, too, that is... Not well. I guess they have that one more home match. You're right. I was about to say, isn't that their last home match? Could they just roll over on their last home match? But they do play Newcastle also this week, so
I think
maybe.
I think, like, I have Garnacho and I don't want him. So if I
I don't know.
You have him.
I do have him, and
Right.
I think he's going to end up hanging around because I have other fish to fry, and I'm not willing to take a -12.
Right.
So.
Why
That's
not? You don't want to win?
Yeah, but I feel like there's a
Give him the mini league.
there's a fine line between. I mean, there's still match week 38.
I thought you were.
I'm 10 points behind.
I thought you were a man.
I still got a chance at this.
There's the one of the reasons why I was saying too, I think holding off on information is when did they announce that Harry Maguire was ruled out for the rest of the season with a muscle injury?
I don't think they technically have.
It was a couple days ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was
Like it's not like the info comes flying out fast and furious. By the way, we got a few minutes. Just keep an eye on the on your
old ticker.
The old ticker.
I got the green. Battery saver is on my computer. Hey, Brighton played this week too. Honestly, good win against Aston Villa.
It's a good win, but it's
the end of Manchester United. Manchester United's over.
Dumb.
We're done with that, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Brighton.
Yes.
That match was stupid. That was a soft penalty, and it made me furious because there was like 5 other incidents in the match week that were worse and not called.
How did Aston Villa attempt 2 shots? 2 shots.
They literally kicked it around in the midfield the entire match. That was it.
2 shots. João Pedro
brutal.
made everyone sad and then made them happy, but in a sadder way than Isak did, just because he's a sadder player. João Pedro, honestly, like he'd be one of those guys. Like if you, for whatever reason, feel like you're restricted, that you can't go to Isak or Nicholas Jackson for whatever reason. João Pedro A is cheap. B, I mean, he's not doing a lot in real life points because he's only got 14 points in his last 6 games.
Okay.
That's not good. That includes his goal this week because it's the only goal he scored in that time. But he's second for shots in the box. He's number 1 among forwards. Last 6 games, he's number 1 for touches in the opposition box. He's also number 1 among forwards for chances created. He's tied with Cody Gakpo for big chances created. So, he's the man most likely. And I think, if he's playing with, Danny Welbeck started the game too. Right. I feel like that's a fine pairing. I like that.
Simon Adingra has been
Adingra's awesome
rapid.
Game in this game. Awesome here. Pascal Gross didn't turn bad all of a sudden. It's just that Brighton, overall is just kind of dropped so far off. I don't hate it. That's the thing. Which do you like better? Do you like underlying numbers or do you like real numbers? You know what I mean? All of João Pedro's his underlying data is very good in the last 6 weeks. It has resulted in nothing, and I think it says more about Brighton than it does about him necessarily.
Points are points, Brian. I kind of like real points.
He took the penalty. I mean, as far as we know, unless something happened when he missed the penalty. Pascal Gross has taken him before, so it's not like there isn't a guy out there who could possibly take them.
Right.
He's not alone, but I don't know.
They could sub James Miller on so he can take him.
Right.
It's true.
If Adam Lallana, I don't know.
I think they're both injured and out for the season.
Is he even still there? You said Brighton defender. You're not getting anybody else. Adingra is he played excellent, but it's not you're doing anything about it. All we know is that it's Dunk. Dunk is the most secure for minutes. None of their defenders do anything. Since game week 33. Okay, so this is, again 5 game weeks of data for Brighton. The defenders have taken a total of 5 shots. Okay, the defender whose name is Barco has taken the most shots with 2. He's got 2.
Yeah,
and everyone else who's taken a shot has taken 1, and that includes Lewis Dunk, who normally you just say he's great. He's a great, sizable man in the box.
On Dunk and or the Brighton defense at this moment, I'm not sure they get it. They need a ton of love. I'm not hating on them. It's just that they're playing at Newcastle and then they're home to Chelsea. Both teams are fighting for something. Chelsea and Newcastle, both. I think are
very much
superior,
in form,
superior
attacking
teams, and they've been scoring goals. So I just don't think there's anything.
The only reason why you're doing it is like a lot of the other guys. If you want to have a player who plays twice, then you could get Adam Webster, and you need some money because because Dunk is 5'1" or 5'2", something like that. So that's expensive to bring in a guy.
You could bring in Webster,
right? So if you were if you really just wanted to take the chance on a 1 or a 2 or a 3-pointer from somebody that's on your bench, and maybe the slight chance that they could get you something, Dunk just seems like a really expensive way to go about doing that. But
gotcha. All right, right on. Listen, there are some guys out there, Travis, you alluded to, that I don't think they're worth moving off of, and I think their single match weeks are going to be fine. Arsenal is one of them, as they are home to, they're at Man United. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Not with
Palace.
United not
anyone with
defense.
Palace people. Palace is at Wolves. I don't think that's a problem. Everton is.
It's better. It's
home Sheffield,
and that's another one where it's Wolves can score. That's the difference. Palace got the worst possible version of Manchester United at Selhurst Park. They got an old, tired, dejected, no Bruno, and starting Casemiro and Johnny Evans as center backs, Manchester United, with Christian Eriksen starting in the midfield with Mason Mount and hoping that Kobe Mainoo could do some stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wolves have maybe a goal in them, but
they've got
they had one goal against City.
He-Chan, there was already Neto was training. Neto was. It wasn't until the moments before the City game where it was no, Neto's not gonna. He's not gonna play. So you might have Pedro Neto back in that game. To me, it was if you wanted to go for Eze or Elise, again, I think you'd probably. Recency bias is going to push you to Elise because he was just unbelievable. I think he had 6 shots against Manchester United.
It was ridiculous.
Right. But he's also not going to be able to steal the ball off of someone as bad as Casemiro. Do you know what I'm saying?
Casemiro's so poor.
Right. So that's what I like. Wolves aren't like that. So, yeah, for the attack, like, it's better. It's just not. Like, I just think you're gonna. It would be hard to look past like how awful Manchester United is, and Wolves are not like that. And then you're keeping them for 38. Like, if you're bringing them in this week, they're home to Aston Villa. So, like, I don't know. How much is Villa still? How much are they?
They get a chance to secure top 4.
Right. I think they're still going to play.
Villa's playing.
Right.
They need
They're
one
absolutely
win.
going to play.
They need
they don't
one
have
point.
any other matches out there.
They need just 1 point.
Right.
1 point secures them. I think. Am I right? Am I right about that?
So,
If they,
they're going to beat Liverpool.
they're on 67. All they need, all they need is
Right.
Well, they need one win. A win or 1 point makes.
Is Villa going to beat Liverpool this week?
Probably not.
Honestly, probably not. But
Right.
but it could be a tight match.
But that's what I'm saying.
They could get a point.
Even as weird as Liverpool's been, there's still the feeling like Liverpool should still win this week against Aston Villa, even if it's at
Pressure
even
off.
if it's
Liverpool
at Villa.
should smash
And
everybody last 2 matches.
Villa plays at Palace for last game.
Right.
That Palace is
That's going to
almost
be a good one.
as in form as anyone. Villa has to. I mean, they
Right.
really have their backs against the wall
Right.
here.
This loss to Brighton was
Huge.
a bad loss, and they looked bad. So yeah, like this is where you'd say like, there's a reason why Ollie Watkins is in hardly anyone's team now. Like, there's a reason why you're not going to any other Villa player or whatever.
Right.
So you can
Fantasy wise doesn't make
you
sense.
just ignore them, like, and that's why I'm saying on the Palace side of it. As long as Eze and Elise are fit, they're different. That's it. Like that is like
And Mateta is firing.
right. And Mateta can't seem to stop. So like, I don't think like awesome that dude in our league played Munoz and Chris Richards.
That's
that is,
impossible.
like
It's so
getting that kind of like
that's so unreal.
that's amazing. But like, are you still playing them? Are you still starting them the next 2 weeks?
Right. Are we taking hits to move them out?
Anyway,
Probably.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not like this week was awesome for them. Just does not seem like the kind of the week where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like Elise just had a 16-pointer. I'm gonna go grab him, throw him into my midfield. It's like I just feel like I don't know.
Agree.
Kai Havertz is still playing.
Yeah. And he
Bukayo
didn't.
Saka is still playing.
Havertz didn't point this week, but
Yeah, he did.
Well, he got an assist. He did. You're
That's
right.
still something.
You're right. He got something.
Dave, Kai Havertz, last 5 game weeks, is the number 1 overall FPL scorer. He has 50 points in the last 5 game weeks.
I know.
He's
been pretty good.
number 1.
Is
I'm
that-
just saying, like,
That's better
he's-
than number 2.
he's 6th for shots. He's 2nd overall for shots on target. He's 7th for chances
Yeah.
created.
No.
Kai Havertz got points this week. Anyway.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right. Look, I just don't own him because I still am on Saka and I've just had other
Strong
fires to put
feelings
out.
over here.
Yeah. I like it. I love it. I love the passion. All right, last thing. We got to round this up. Your battery saver's about to shut down. We got like 3 minutes.
I'm on the yellow triangle. 8% is what it's saying right now.
Okay. Yep.
8%? Oh, you got plenty of time.
I don't think you're doing anything with Fulham.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely
Because one of the two is
City.
Manchester City. Who do they have last week?
If
They're at Luton.
I got it.
So Fulham's at Luton.
Yes.
Maybe that game, if you wanted to really pick somebody way off the
I
wall.
think Luton's still gonna be fighting for
Castagna.
something there.
Tim Castagna's got 4 6s in a row.
It's just-
Did you see that?
Is that possible?
yeah.
Straight up 4 6s. He scored a goal in one of them, and he's
Assist
got
in one, maybe.
but it's a straight.
Clean
It's
sheet.
4 straight 6s. I don't know. That's
So
that's
bizarre.
really hard to do.
Anomaly.
You're not going to a Bournemouth player. Like, you're trying to get out of your
Right.
Bournemouth players. Brentford, we like the matchups are green,
Who?
but Brentford, like, this was a green week for him too, and it turned into nothing. Everton is the one where, because it's Sheffield this week,
Yes.
where if you wanted to go to like Branthwaite, obviously Branthwaite got the assist, the FPL assist on the penalty
agree.
this
week.
This week. So this week, if you wanted to, although there is Ben Brereton Diaz, who also can't seem to stop scoring, and Everton also they were not nearly as organized this week. Like, I mean, it was 1-1 deservedly. Do you know what I mean? Like a game where you're like, they probably should have gotten a clean sheet here too, but they did not.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, they're home. But we said last week that feels like the most shoe-in of all the clean sheets this week is Everton at home to Sheffield. But I don't know.
It's the Premier League.
Right.
All right.
And then...
What, hammers, but nothing. No.
I still think that Jared Bowen, I mean, if you want...
But you're not going to own him. Not this week.
It'd be really tough.
Yeah. I mean, you might bring him in for the following week, but not this week. And the following week, they're playing
against
City.
So no.
Right.
I think you're staying away from hammers.
That's what I mean. This week, once you get past...
I think Bowen wouldn't be a bad shout this
once
week.
you get past the doublers, and then and once you get past Liverpool, Arsenal...
There's
Everton,
maybe
defense,
right.
and
It's
Pickford.
weird to say that, but yeah.
There's not a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, well done. I think we can start wrapping this thing up.
What are you going to do for captain? I feel like this is a really legitimately difficult captain week.
I'm on Isak right now.
Wow.
I have to do something different, right?
No, it's not bad. How is that a bad choice?
There's no way I'm not captaining Holland.
I mean, Holland, it's really hard not to. But I'm trying to catch
You're not,
something.
Nick Jackson isn't. Once you bring him in, you're not going to be
he already
tempted
brought him
to
in, didn't
follow
you?
up.
You brought him in, didn't you?
I know my rule.
Did you bring Nick
all right.
Jackson in already?
I haven't hit save, but currently it's Jackson, Palmer, and Romero. No, I'm sorry, Jackson, Gordon, Romero, not Palmer. I've had Palmer for ages. Jackson, Gordon, Romero at the moment are my transfers in. I just look, my attitude on Holland has been exactly what happened last week when the people who didn't captain him, probably it hurt bad because he had a quarter pounder. We didn't even really talk Holland, but he scores 4 goals against Wolves, and it's just like those are the weeks that last year there was 3 different times where I did not captain Holland because Salah had a better matchup, and I got torched at least 2 of those 3 times on hat tricks, and I said never again. If Holland's playing, he's getting captain.
Yeah.
If you had Salah, would you find a way to move him to a doubler or somebody who has something more favorable in the last 2 game weeks, or what are you doing now that Salah had an actual an actual game?
You know what's funny is that I actually sat here trying to figure out what I was going to do with my team, and I've been prepping for a while because I've had all my chips, and so I have all but those 2 Arsenal defenders as doubles right now, and I'm bench boosting, so I'm fine. But I have enough money in the bank to where I'm bringing Salah back in. He's not on my team now.
Okay.
Next week, and I'm probably going to run my triple captain on him.
Oh wow. Okay.
For
That's
the final,
kinda fun.
for the final game.
Oh, you're
week.
bench boosting this week.
Bench boost this
Okay,
week,
and
triple captain next
game
week
38
with Salah.
All right.
It's got to be an offensive player, but we can talk about that next week. But I am
Now
not
that- now that-
on him, but I will likely move to him.
Now that he's re-staying,
But it's not even that. It's a home
is that
match.
official?
and
He's
if-
re-staying?
Well, it's just
they keep talking about everything.
they're
Changes.
but home matchup. I think if it is going to be
It
his
could
last,
be- it
he's
could
going
be
out in a bang.
Would you bring in? What about Andy Robertson?
Isn't that weird? What's
We
he
have
doing
till
scoring
next
so
week
much?
to talk about next week.
I'm just saying, like,
You talking about Andy Robertson this week?
yeah, why not?
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's Aston Villa.
Probably not.
All right.
That was fighting, man.
All right, I'm just saying, like, to me, there was, and look, as bad as they've been, Son still plays twice, and one of those games is against Burnley, and Son, in the reverse fixture against Manchester City, Heung-min Son went for a goal and an assist. So he went for a 10
So
in
you're
the reverse fixture.
So are you really considering captaining him?
At the Etihad, Heung-min Son went
you
for a
didn't,
10.
You didn't answer my question, though. Are you really considering captaining him?
There's no way you don't captain Holland.
I'm probably not captaining Son, but
Is this gamesmanship because you don't want to?
There's no
tip your
way.
hand
There's
for him?
no way you're not captaining Holland.
I don't know. Yeah, you probably are.
There's no way.
I probably
you can't
am.
risk it. You can't risk it because if I do,
I know.
and Holland crushes, you're gonna be just like I had the same choice again and I chose wrong this time.
It's just that Fulham and Spurs are so bad. Fulham defense, like we just this is a podcast where we said that Fulham's defense in the last 6
This
games
is true. You did give a statistic.
Second best for XG conceded in the last 6 game weeks, but I don't know, man. None of those teams that they played were this rampant version
Nothing
of Manchester
will
City.
make me more happy
than to see that captain on a player not named Erling Haaland.
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Nothing will make me more happy than me captaining Holland and City drawing one of these 2 games and he doesn't score. Nothing will make me more happy. As Arsenal
He's
are
given
trying,
up the mini league. He has not given up the Premier League.
There is no giving up. The leagues are still very much in the balance. There's
I don't know. I feel
plenty
like
of time for me to blow it. For
a Flecking team, man, has really
run away.
He's up there. He's in front of me and Brian by about 50 or 40 for Brian, 50 for me, and I'm like, man, that is daggone it, man.
No, it's
he came out of nowhere the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
Chips,
anyways, he's doing great. It's currently in the top. I think I looked top 38K, so that's pretty good. All right, well, gentlemen, listen. Well, look, I'll just because I'm not in the top 5 doesn't mean I should not read it because now I'm liver of Grealish has knocked me out of the top 5. And we perfectly timed it as Brian's computer has absolutely just shut down. League Xander, a Flecking team, in first place. League Shen, Rockabye Angel, second place. Our own Brian Shesko, Scott Thick Tomine in third. And Sesk Drogs, Rock and Roll, League Mark in fourth. And League Max, Liver of Grealish in fifth.
What a week for that.
Kudos, great scores all across the top. And look, we had 2 more weeks. This is going to be interesting and fun. Make your hits count, Brian. Make your hits count. That's my challenge to everyone else. And if you don't captain Holland, well, that's on you. For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.